Welcome to the 10th Pasadena Business and Economic Summit. We are very pleased that so many of you are here today. I'm Caitlin Barchowski of Story Lane Marketing, and I'm currently chair of the board at the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce. First, I would like to thank our partner in today's event, the City of Pasadena. The city is supporting the event as well as providing insight and advice on the program. I'm also very pleased that the Chamber and the city have such a strong and positive relationship.
This is my first time at this event as a member of the Chamber. So I have a small business myself, and whenever we make decisions on the council, I always think of the people who are the lifeblood of our city. And that's you, who are the small and large businesses in Pasadena. You keep us afloat.
Our GDP last year for LA County was over $800 billion. If we were a country, LA County alone would be the 21st largest economy in the world. We're not a small city. We are a global size. We're not even a small nation. We're a major nation. So when people think of Los Angeles, you're actually thinking about the greater Los Angeles region, which is now 5 counties: Ventura, San Bernardino, Riverside, Orange, and Los Angeles. 5 counties combined together, 18.7 million people. Our GDP is now close to $1.2, $1.3 trillion, tying us with Mexico as the 15th largest economy in the world. So when people talk about us, Pasadena, or all the Altadena and all the various parts of Los Angeles combined together, we are a powerhouse, and that's why the world wants to be a part of this. With all the negative things I talked about, there's still a lot of huge opportunities coming out as well. Keep going. This map I love. If you guys haven't seen this, you guys need to use this map. That red dot is LA County. The population of LA County is larger than 41 other states. Those other blue states in that map have populations smaller than LA County. The next map, the green map, is that there are over 1,200 counties. Combined together, those green things combined together is equivalent to LA County's population. So we have an outsized population, and our influence, sometimes we don't take advantage of that. So I want to use that as a visual to challenge all of us to really step up to take our rightful place on the national and international stage. Next. You guys know the entire region. We talked about the population, our GDP. Keep going. Racial makeup, and one of our strongest assets that the world is seeing is basically the diversity of our population. Keep going. And the diversity of our industries and economy. A lot of folks, when I wear my World Trade Center hat, I sell Los Angeles to the rest of the world. And I ask them, when you think about Los Angeles, what do you think about? What do you think they say? Hollywood?
Aerospace.
This is what we would like them to think about. Top 4, Hollywood, traffic, Hollywood. We need to change that because we're the home of aerospace, defense, and space commercialization exploration. We have grown, our bioscience and life science industry continues to grow, especially in Pasadena. Advanced transportation, because of BYD and other companies have invested here heavily, we're now seeing this influx of international companies coming here for advanced transportation. Our ocean economy, that's trade and logistics, but also underwater ocean robotics, and all these aquaculture technology are being developed here in Los Angeles. Of course, we have Hollywood, right? But now we're moving into digital media entertainment, gaming, esports, and sports and entertainment, which I'll talk about a bit later. Trade and logistics, of course, the Port of Los Angeles, Port of Long Beach, the #1, #2 container port in North America, controlling 43%. I'm getting rushed now because I know my time is short. And although manufacturing is declining throughout the region and the United States, Los Angeles remains one of the largest manufacturing centers in the entire United States, with over 360,000 manufacturing jobs located right here. So there's still a lot of possibilities for us. Keep going. Bioscience, we'll give you more information. Again, you can download all the information about each of the sector. Keep going. Aerospace and defense. Next. Sports and entertainment.
Our latest addition to our city businesses is Pasadena welcomed Wedbush Securities. Wedbush came from downtown, and they are now looking to occupy a couple of floors at 225 South Lake, and we're pleased that they're here. You can see the mayor was there with the Wedbush family on the left, and it was a great evening. So next, moving into Old Pasadena, some electrical vehicle industry is starting to take off. In addition to Tesla, who is there now, we have Lucid's headquarters, a showroom opened at 5,500 square feet at 32 West Colorado Boulevard. That's on Mills Place Alley, next to the former, I guess it was Jake's Hamburgers at one time, if that helps folks get oriented. Lucid is headquartered in Newark, California, and also Rivian recently opened. Rivian opened in the former Harvest Marijuana Dispensary building. Okay, restaurant happenings. These are a list of restaurant happenings, 17, 18, over the last year. These are just a select few. And you can see Kitchen, Pez Coastal Kitchen is a newer one that was in the former Slater's 50/50. We have pizza, we have Asian cuisine, we have burritos. And at the bottom we have Javier's. Javier's is coming in where Il Fornaio in Old Pasadena once was. And that's an exciting new restaurant that we're looking forward to having join our city. So over the past 18 months or so, my staff and I have been very busy, not only with these projects. And let me say, these projects aren't economic development projects alone. This is a whole team. This is the planners, this is the public works, this is the city attorney's office, this is transportation. Just because I'm the one saying these, behind me are many, many other people in the city who make these things happen. So I just get the fortunate experience to be up here and talk about it. But the strategic plan is one that we haven't done in about 12 years at the city. There really wasn't a game plan. Well, there was, but it was outdated. So we spent the last 18 months putting this together. And what is this plan? It's a vision for the city. It's a vision for the next 5 years of where we go in terms of economic development. So what came out of this plan? There are six guiding principles that have come out of the plan. And I'll just go through them very quickly. Build systems and partnerships for success. Champion life sciences and a deep tech ecosystem. Invest in neighborhoods and small businesses. Reinforce Pasadena as a destination culture and entertainment. Expand and streamline workforce opportunities. Prioritize place and accessibility. So what does that mean? That sounds like a lot, and it is. But thankfully, we have some strategies to help us implement some of these. So, how does this work? So I'll give you a quick example. The guiding principle, champion life sciences and cultivate a deep tech ecosystem. Well, if we look at recommendation number 4, that reads, develop a robust marketing campaign on behalf of life science and deep tech. And lo and behold, we're actually doing that. We hired a company called Echo Factory. They're a local business in Pasadena. They're in East Pasadena. They're right now putting together lots of good information for us. We think we're going to have some really neat kind of marketing material coming our way in the next 3 to 6 months. So we're very excited about that. So that's just one example of the guiding principle and how that works. So the overall takeaway is I think that this presentation demonstrated Pasadena is still a very desirable place to invest and conduct and run your business. There's lots of good stuff happening, from R&D to new restaurants to new medical office buildings being constructed. We have the latest EVs coming into our city, offering for sale. And know that the city does have a playbook. We actually have a strategy on how we want to help foster in the current development and bring in new development that we believe will build and continue to build a robust economy for all and then for the future. So.
Although we output a lot of startups as a region, Caltech, JPL, UCLA, USC, the hospitals, other institutions, many of these startups end up moving to feeding into the other ecosystems in California, particularly the Bay Area, San Diego, and Boston. So we're losing a lot of these startups. So at Caltech alone, in the last 20 years, we outputted something like 400 startup companies. And more than half of those have gone away. So imagine if they had stayed in this ecosystem and grown. And so our efforts have been right in that space, trying to keep the companies here by bring the elements of an innovation ecosystem to Pasadena, and also connecting ourselves to the other nodes in LA. So these are the elements, recognized elements of an innovation ecosystem. You have a research institution in the center of it, STEM primarily. You think about Stanford, MIT as two of the main ones. And so what you need to bring around it is the human capital that the early stage entrepreneurs will understand how to take technology out and collaborate with scientists. On the business side, you need to have early stage capital, venture capital, and even seed earlier capital. You need to have established specialized facilities to host these companies. There are tech companies, life science companies, they need lab space, wet labs, they need power requirements that are different from office space. So you need to have those facilities. And then to complete the ecosystem, you need larger corporations, the likes of HP and Intel that help build Silicon Valley. And so we've made progress in all these areas, and we're very close to, I would say, the beginning of really the growth of our ecosystem. And next, please. So on the human capital, we create at Caltech an entrepreneur in residence program where we have experienced entrepreneurs come into the campus and collaborate with our scientists to help take the technologies out. That's been going on for about 8 years now. We have created a venture fund within Caltech to help seed these companies, and that's about 4 years old now, and it helps get these technologies out as a first funding, and then that creates interest from venture capitalists, and then we can raise money from other venture capitalists. We also opened an incubator space on campus, and that helps keep the company local. When you can get them very at inception in our space, they start to grow root, hire people, and it's much harder to move them when they have 20, 25, 50 people in the company to another area. And finally, we also worked very hard at attracting larger companies. One notable one is AWS. We have now a new building on campus that is an AWS building with 150 people doing quantum computing research in collaboration with Caltech, and also machine learning and AI. And then we have a new partnership that is going to be announced with another large tech company, and Eli Lilly as well has announced that, about 2 years ago, announced that Pasadena was their LA site after the acquisition of one of the Caltech startup companies. So we're going both from tech and biotech, pharma, to get these companies to get close to campus and in Pasadena.
This, to me, these two things are as grand as I think Earth Science and NASA will ever get. To me, it's a profound arc of development and decision support. So on the left side, I'm just showing that we've developed these key observations that help characterize sea level rise. The first one is just these altimeters that bounce radar off the surface, and so that we can track the height of the ocean. And you've seen it's rising. But then the question is, well, why is it rising? There's two reasons why the ocean sea level rises. One is ice sheets and other ice melts, snow and ice melt, and then it runs into the ocean and the ocean rises. The other one is the planet is warming, and warm water expands. And so there's two different reasons for that. And that second instrument, GRACE, is so exquisite. I will tell you, it involves two satellites. They're 200 kilometers apart, and they orbit the Earth, and they keep track of their distance between themselves within a fraction of a human hair. And that's in order to study, to measure the gravity of the Earth underneath it, to know where the mass is changing. And the mass only changes kind of from 1 month to the next because water moves around the planet, and it's very heavy. And that's the thing that actually makes gravity change as you orbit. And so between that measurement, we can understand like how much the ice sheets are melting, and thus adding water to the ocean. So between the two, you can find out how much the ocean is warming and raising, and how much ice is melting and adding water. So we've kind of come up with some of the fundamental information to provide the observations of the Earth. So we put up an instrument called EcoStress on the space station. So on the International Space Station, there's this basically a very sophisticated infrared camera. It measures temperature and heat. And it basically measures the heat. If it's cloud-free, it can see more or less the ground. So if you touch the pavement, you touch the concrete, you touch the surface, that's the temperature it's measuring. So this is a figure that came in a heat wave, but bear in mind, and you can see the temperature at the top. Gosh, this is the one turned into centigrade for some other audience. It should be in Fahrenheit. But so you can see the heat distribution for when we were in a heat wave in September 6, 2022. This is at night at 11:23. So it's some parts of the city have cooled off, but you can see hot spots all over the place, right? Because the concrete and pavement can hold heat. But we get to a lot better detail. Keep going. So this is now this is still a satellite image. It's JPL is the little dot in the kind of the middle. This is, northeast Pasadena, there in the kind of the main area. And you can see where things are hot because it's a city and it's urban, very urban. And you can see where it's cooler because it's more green. And you can see that start to appear when you zoom in even farther. We talk about when we get visitors, we talk about this kind of activity and how painting the street can matter. And we had this great example up in San Fernando Valley we talked about for 2 years. And like I said, now we're starting to talk about to the facilities people at JPL, finally, about that activity of writing that report. Next slide. And found out that they actually painted a street at JPL 2 years ago. We didn't even know.
Again, I'd like to thank our presenters, Stephen Cheung, Dave Klug, Fred Farina, and Duane Waliser. Give them all a round of applause. Thank you for sharing your insights.